Hour number 3 now officially underway on a Friday edition of the Early Line. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Raineri. It's a SportsGrid Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. 2 hours of excitement, 1 hour to go, setting up your SportsGrid weekend here. That's the job we set out to do this Friday morning. And I think, Joe, we're doing a damn good job of that, huh?
Outstanding stuff. No better way to start the weekend here, Donnie, this hour as we get ready for football. We get ready for, well, the trade deadline in Major League Baseball. Lot to be excited about.
Yep, big card today, Major League Baseball. Smaller card yesterday. Hopefully he profited and was, pushing your chips through, as we like to say, towards Friday. We're going to get into the poll for today on the SportsGrid Network, which is our Fade the Public. It'll be up in just a second. But I wanted to bring this up. The Patriots just tweeted something out. Like, we did a little analysis of that Packers uniform. There's another uniform coming down, and it looks like it's August the 28th. And here's the hit. It says from the Patriots directly here: batten down the hatches. A nor'easter hits the Nike NFL rivalries game on November 13th versus the New York Jets. So what could that be? Is that a color rush uniform that we're going to look at? Batten down the hatches? Like, what are we in store for at this point now? Pirates and, who knows? What do we got? Swordfish? What is it?
It wouldn't be like a throwback, would it? It wouldn't be
It's
one of the.
Yeah, I think it is.
Interesting. Oh boy. And that is a Sunday game, Donnie, or is that that's got to be a Sunday game too? So
It says
oh boy.
It says November 13th. Is that a Sunday? Like, I don't even know. Like, usually like, oh, we're gonna place the like why would you do this against the Jets? Like, the Jets are supposed to stink.
Jets.
Like, you're just like, hey, we're
Exactly.
gonna do this against the Bills. Like we're gonna really hype this game up. It almost sounds to me, I want to say, yes, I knew.
The Thursday.
It sounded like we needed a gimmick here, Joe, for a Thursday night game, and now we got one for New England. They want their fans to be excited about the Jets game. How about that?
Yeah, well, they did that with the color rush uniforms. Were always on Thursday too, and then they had to change the coloring of the lower thirds on the screen because nobody could read what the down was because the colors on the field were messing with it. So yes, I listen. I'm all for the throwback jerseys if done, with a little twist. I think it looks great, but I can't wait to see what the Jets uniform, the throwback Jets one, is going to be.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe just throw the Jets back into the 20th century, because how bad they're supposed to be this year. Ha ha! Look at that. We got jokes on a Friday morning. Let's get to the poll here. SportsGrid Network, each and every morning, Monday through Friday. We want the public's opinion here on our Fade the Public poll. And today, how about this one? What is your favorite Adam Sandler sports movie? And I said, well, why would you ask me that? Well, Happy Gilmore 2 is being released today. I believe it's Netflix. I want to say that has that. So you can certainly ramp that up right now and watch it. And I see on my timeline, people are already watching it. But the question wasn't asked, are you going to be excited about Happy Gilmore 2? It was Adam Sandler. And what's his best sports movie from Adam Sandler? Questions answered here. Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy, The Longest Yard, or Hustle. So it looks like the leaderboard, and rightfully so, is Happy Gilmore, even though I disagree with it here. I want The Waterboy. Did you go Waterboy, Happy Gilmore, The Longest Yard, or Hustle? I think I know what Hustle is. I think I saw that one. But which way did you go, Joe?
I'm still trying to figure out why they made a Happy Gilmore 2, 20 some odd years after the first one. Like I don't
it.
30 years. Like what is going on here? Listen, it is a little nostalgia throwback here. I think Happy Gilmore would have been my vote for those. Not although, I mean, let's face it, The Longest Yard, but it was a spoof off, and I thought the original was great too as well. But I think Happy Gilmore, anytime you could put Bob Barker on screen and make him look funny, I think it's just absolutely priceless there with that. So Gilmore would have been my favorite of him. And now I'm going to have to say no, because you're going to give me Happy Gilmore too, and we know this is going to absolutely stink. Who are we kidding?
No, nobody's kidding anybody on this. Let me tell you something here. Like, being an 80s kid, growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, coming to America, everybody in that movie, legendary. 5 years go by, still holds up. 10 years goes by, still holds up. 20 years goes by, still holds up. You can watch that. That's on, let's just say, Showtime puts it up, or HBO, or it's just on somebody's TV. You're watching that for at least 5 to 10 minutes. You know every single scene there. So what do they think? Like, it'd be awesome. Coming to America, which again, they used the 2 there for Coming to America too. Horrendous. Like so unapologetically bad. Like, it was like, all right, let's just get a quick money grab because people will watch it. We'll make the movie. The actors will make some money. Horrendous. if you can't like improve on the sequel, and sequels are meant to sort of get worse, right? But okay, Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In order, within a 10-year range, you sort of understood the storyline. You got into it. You like the character, right? Same thing with like Creed. Like knock them out all in a row. You understand the storyline. They're coming fast and furious here. But to have this long a layoff on a masterpiece, like what are the exceptions? Like, are we remaking Slapshot? Like, what are the expectations that be like, man, it was better than the first one? Like, it can't be. There's no way.
No, the only thing that might save this is I'm guessing the cameo appearances in it are probably over the top. So whether it must be, that would be the only interesting thing, is to see some of these folks from, again, that movie came out when? 95, 96, the original Gilmore movie? So
yeah.
My goodness. That I think is going to be maybe the best part about it. Outside of that, I can't see how I can't see how this makes any sense. Although an entire generation now, Donnie, who maybe didn't see Happy Gilmore will now watch Happy Gilmore and then Happy Gilmore 2.
Nah, like, oh, get caught up on it and be like, oh, that was fantastic. Happy Gilmore was good. You didn't see the initial one. It's like when the kids come by, it's like, hey, man, you hear this remix? Like, I heard that song 30 years ago. What are you talking about? That's not the song. That's not brand new just because it's on the radio right now. We'll see how the expectations are low. Will I watch it? 100%. Will I be angry? 99.9%. I'm leaving that little slither out here that we can certainly get down to. But I loved the Waterboy back in the 1990s playing college football, and that came out. Hilarious movie. And by the way, what a great run for Sandler in the 1990s with his movies that came out. I mean, absolutely fantastic. That was his genre. He nailed it and sort of been getting away with it here in the 2000s. Other great sports movies out there, right? If you look at football movies, Friday Night Lights, We Are Marshall, Rudy, Remember the Titans, Any Given Sunday. Are there any sports movies, Joe, that you sit down and be like, you know what? I can get into this movie. Like, I still enjoy it to this day.
Oh, you know me, Don. The Natural and Bull Durham for me are probably like when I'm flipping through, and then it's just like, yeah, no problem. I can't once the remote clicks on either of those two movies. It usually I just put the remote down there and finish watching both of them. Bull Durham, without a doubt, one of my all-time favorites.
Yep. And by the way, the Natural, like still like Wilford Brimley, man. Stop holding the man down. Let the man get in at bat here. Stop keeping him on the bench. We're not waiting for people to die in right field before my guy, Roy Hobbs, gets up at the plate here. But you're right about that. Absolute classic movies at that. Like good boxing movies. I like The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg here. Like all those trilogy fights with Mickey Ward. Creed's a great one here. Obviously, Rocky, $1 Million Baby was good. Cinderella Man. Like boxing always has a really good genre, even all the way dating back to Raging Bull. Like enjoyable things, sports comedies. But we all like that. Like, I like the war genre, and I really like the sports genre. Like two movies that you can always get me to is give me a good one of those, and I'll be able to sit down and enjoy that for the next 2 hours.
Any day. I mean, you can't see, and I mean, when you think about all the amount of different war movies that we've gotten all years telling the same story, different stories within the same time period, and every one of them seems to be better than the rest. There are a couple of good gambling movies too there, Donnie, though we should throw in there. So
give me a gambling movie. Like if you could sit down, is it Runner? You want to see Justin Timberlake out there and Ben Affleck? Nice little gambling movie.
That.
Throw them in with the alligators. Yeah, there we go. Rounders.
Yep, Rounders was one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites. Can't go wrong with Casino either, though.
No, but how about it? Was it Two for the Money out there? Like selling picks, the gambling business, Al Pacino. Who was it was Brandon Lang's story of his life, which really wasn't the story of his life. It was just a made-for-script. Believe it if you watch it. Our producer behind the scenes has watched Challengers, a tennis movie, 684 times in a row at this point now. So there's a lot of good stuff out there in the stratosphere. It's time to handicap baseball. Are you ready?
it was rich that you're talking about the fact that you don't know what the point of going out there and playing golf and winning golf tournaments when you've got guys who are pining, living in their cars, trying to make a cut, playing the DP tour, desperate just to be in an event, let alone have the ability to talk about winning an event and being like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Fulfill me. I'm not fulfilled as a golfer.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Y'all know where I'm going. And yeah, you can call it Knick bias all you want. I'm taking the Knicks to come out of the East. I look at this New York team and think that Mike Brown is an upgrade over Tom Thibodeau. You may disagree. I don't care. I look at the fact of getting Yabusele and Clarkson off the bench is going to make the Knicks more dangerous.
Betting above the rim only on SportsGrid.
So Ramondre's already lost a ton of weight. That's great. He needs to stop fumbling the football. Trayvon Henderson, I think, is that playmaker you need. Then you got Stephon Diggs, Kyle Williams. We kind of talked about those guys. Those are the two investable wide receivers. Hunter Henry, I think in a deeper league, is probably your tight end 13 or 14. He's right on the fringe. But I think a good situation here for the New England Patriots.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
This is interesting. Minus 116s, minus 120s in the marketplace. We're seeing now minus 140s across the board and 6.5s on the total.
He's not a big strikeout pitcher. His metrics look terrible, but he somehow seemingly get 5 innings, 6 innings, only 1 earned run. It's because he's a super ground ball pitcher, induces that soft and medium contact. He can essentially sap the power away from the Dodgers.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball, we had a short card yesterday on a Thursday. Full slate, full card Friday. Absolutely, this is what's needed. The first game here today, let me just hit a quick reset on my board. Yes, 4:10. So you don't even have to wait till dinner time tonight to get the Miami Marlins taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. That's not the game we're going to focus on right now because we got a big Northeastern battle. Two cities that don't enjoy each other's company. It's New York and it's Philadelphia today. So if we're looking at the lineup saying, all right, well, which way are we going to go? Hey, Philly's got Taijuan Walker out there. Congratulations. And Will Warren for the opposite side for the Yankees, which equates to a 10.5. That's now showing up in the betting place, even up from the graphic that we have on your screen right now of 10 runs. A favorite for the Yankees, who aren't even playing great baseball, at a minus 162, Joe, because they're just telling you, you cannot bet on Taijuan Walker anyway, any shape, any form. Philadelphia Phillies, New York Yankees from the Bronx today. What's your opinion here?
Yeah, I don't see how we don't, even at 10, bet the over. Just look for runs, and more runs are coming here today with this, with these two teams. I mean, the Yankees, Will Warren has been great, but when he has a bad outing, Donnie, he gets lit up like a Christmas tree. So, and he's had a few more of those lately than he has quality outings. So, yeah, I think the power on both these teams, home run props, I think are also worth a look-see here with a few guys.
Yeah, take a look at Taijuan Walker's last 60 days, 23 innings pitched, which, again, he's been working out of the bullpen primarily, a 5 ERA at this point. Then I'm trying to find Will Warren over here. He's got a 5.68 ERA, but a slightly better xFIP number. If you look at the two lineups, at least anticipated, we don't know exactly who's coming in there. Grisham, Bell, Judge, Chisholm, Stanton, Rice, Wells, and also Volpe. That's basically like 8 of the 9 batters with high ISO power numbers just against right-handed pitching. And that's against all right-handed pitchers. And Taijuan Walker is not a very good right-handed pitcher. If we're lining him up and saying, well, what's he done, Donnie and Joe, over the past 30 days? Only 53 batters he's faced, so has a weighted on-base percentage of .332 against. But here's the big issue. Walk percentage, really high. Strikeout percentage, really low. And when you're playing in Yankee Stadium, that's not going to be a good look today for the Philadelphia Phillies, and neither might be here for the Yankees lineup. So no surprise that we're getting Coors-like numbers in the Bronx today, Joe, but I'm with you. If you're just looking at this game, RBI props probably going to be certainly served up for the people.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be served up to the people here. By the way, the Yankees defensively have no problem giving teams 4 or 5 outs an inning because all they keep doing is either booting the ball around or throwing it in the stands. And defensively, a hot mess here. The Yankees, I can't trust any sort of under here in the Bronx tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be one to watch, and I'm worried about my Phillies here. Maybe Bryce Harper continues to stay hot at this point. Castellanos goes yard, but it might take even more than that. Like, it really looks like a 6-5 type finish up in the Bronx, which gets you at least to that over 85-degree temperatures, light wind blowing out to right field. Should be a pretty good night in the Bronx. Let's head up to Boston and keep it on the East Coast here. That's the Dodgers are in town to take on the Boston Red Sox. Sheehan's going to be on the mound going up against Brian Bayo. That game starts at 7:10 Eastern, 9:23, 9:24 on the rotation. This line opened up around that -120 price, still sitting there at most outlets as we take a look at. And by the way, did we have a pitching change then? Because I have -120s up on the board. We see that -154. This may be just big time money coming in here on the Los Angeles Dodgers to lower that price point here. I got 9.5 as a total. And as I check the weather conditions up there in Boston tonight, nice. 83, 84 degrees at first pitch here. Are we looking at runs? Not the 10.5 we're looking at in the Bronx, but 9.5 now up here in Boston.
9.5 it is what I'm seeing here. But I got to tell you, it's the Dodgers. Do we trust Sheehan, who's gotten beat up a little bit here? Bayo does. The best shot at getting to Bayo is early because as the longer the game goes and the more he's in it, the better he seems to get. So if I was going to take a flyer on anything here, I might take a flyer on the Dodgers in the first 5 to keep this game relatively close and maybe even have a lead before the bullpen's got to get in. You got to get to Bayo early. Otherwise, he just has this way of shutting teams down outside of the first or second inning.
Yeah, Emmett Sheehan, only 16 innings pitched here over the past 60 days, a 4.41 ERA. If we take a look here, and if I try to find Brian Bayo, there he is, 62 and a third innings pitched here, Joe, over the past 60 days, a 2.74 ERA, but a 4.08 xFIP number. You look at the lineup, it presents itself really well for the Boston Red Sox. Outside of Yoshida, you're talking Duran, Bregman, Anthony, Story, Abreu, Rafaela, Narvaez, and Toro. All high numbers here, low K rates. Emmett Sheehan is a right-handed pitcher really struggling with left-handed batters. And those lefties in the lineup, Duran, Anthony, Yoshida, Abreu, and certainly a switch hitter in Toro due to bat ninth who has some pretty good numbers. And then there's always those Dodger bats. Let me ask you this question. Do you just go blind into this game and say, okay, hitter's ballpark, Shohei Ohtani, yep, that's another home run?
Kind of hard not to. I mean, he comes into this game with a home run in each of his last, 5 games, I think. He's got a 5-game streak going on. So, by the way, the Major League Baseball record, consecutive games with a home run, is 8. And who holds it?
Imagine that.
Donnie Baseball.
Wow.
And Ken Griffey Jr. Yes, so not a bad situation, not bad company there if he can keep it going here.
Yeah, how to magically never win a championship with the Yanks, man. Come on, man. That guy used to just hammer. It's kind of surprising though he hit 8 home runs in a row, which is pretty amazing for a guy that was a decent power hitter, but not like, it was Dave Kingman for the Cubs that did it in Wrigley with the wind blowing out 8 straight days. No, it was actually Don Mattingly here. Set out to the West Coast here, the New York Mets and the San Francisco Giants, 907, 908 on the rotation, a 10-15 start tonight. This line opened up around that -135 price point as a favorite towards Logan Webb and the San Francisco Giants. Still sitting around that range, a lower total here at 7.5. And as usual, you take a look at the temperatures. We're in the middle of the summer here, a balmy 60 degrees tonight in San Francisco, where the ball says, I don't feel like I'm traveling. Do we get the 8 runs tonight? Do we get an upset with the Mets? How are we playing this game for you, Joe?
I don't think we're getting a ton of runs. And Webb at home has been absolute money. I don't see there's any reason to go against it. And I do like the first 5 under, too. I think Clay Holmes, pretty good for 5 innings, should be able to limit the damage against these Giants hitters.
There you go. I always liked Logan Webb, too. I mean, the guy always keeps the ball in the ball yard here. Holmes on the mound. The Giants looking to stake their claim and say, we can make a run here out in the NL West, while the Philadelphia Phillies still behind the Mets, with the Mets trying to hold off those fighting Phils as well. More Major League Baseball handicapping coming up next right here on the Early Line.
my mind, I was able to think and process. If I let him get back up, he's going to get back up. I was like, let me finish this right now. And I caught him with that left hook, and then I caught him again with that right hook just to make sure the job was done, because I was calculating his hands wasn't touching the ground and his knees weren't touching the ground, but I know he was still going down. To make sure he wasn't getting back up, I had to let those last two off, man.
Combat Sports Report. Only on SportsGrid.
He's just only 2,300 points behind. So even if he does win at Memphis, he's still going to be behind Scottie Scheffler in the points by 300. So why? I mean, I want Scottie Scheffler to show up in Memphis, but does he need to? If Rory's not showing up and the third place guy, even if he wins, isn't going to pass him?
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
What do you make of the season that Barkley had last year as he piled on the yards to get over 2,000, and what can that look like this year?
His year could have been much better with different circumstances here. So he was great. I assume he'll be great again. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't have an issue with it, but, Barkley, yeah, you're going to lose the tush push.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We're in the middle of hour number 3, having some fun talking some Major League Baseball. It's Donnie Rightside along with Joe Raineri, and we're going to get to a game that had some fireworks early last night, Joe, and that was between San Diego and St. Louis. Entertaining game all the way through. You thought you were getting aces on the mound. You might as well got tomato cans on the mound yesterday. Maybe that changes today because it's going to be Pivetta versus Miles Michaelis of the St. Louis Cardinals. 9:05, 9:06 on the rotation. A 7:15 start. Side in this one as a favorite towards the Padres. Opened up overnight around a -145 price. That's down now. We're seeing 132s, 130s, 123s in the marketplace. Still as a favorite, though, towards the Padres. The total coming in at 8.5. If we take a look at Nick Pivetta over the past 60 days, not bad at all. 59 innings pitched, a 2.90 ERA, and a 3.33 xFIP number. Last 60 days, if you're just trying to take a look at ERA, if you're into that, Miles Michaelis, how about a 7.09 ERA through 45 2/3 innings pitched? A better xFIP number at 4.17, but not nearly the numbers over the past 2 months for Nick Pivetta. So we know how this usually goes. Oh, man, those offenses are ringing it up. What happened today? That's a 2-1 game. What are the vibes for you here on the Padres taking on the St. Louis Cardinals?
Well, coming into this game, both of these teams are struggling, scoring runs for sure. Then, of course, they erupt for 16 runs last night. Most of that all happened against the starters, too, which is hilarious. But I do think this game opened up at 8, and we've seen it be pushed up to 8.5, but certainly nothing like we saw last night here. And I do think Pivetta's got the pitching advantage right now over Michaelis, who pitches to contact, and I kind of like the Padres' chances of getting it done early in this one. I think Pivetta can outpitch Michaelis. I'm willing to take the Padres in the first 5. I'll even lay a half a run because I think the bats continue for the Padres in this one.
I do, too. You take a look at Nick Pivetta. Just go to the last 30 days, Joe, right? Power numbers against an 063 ISO power. That's fantastic. It means nobody's getting extra base hits. You take a look to left-handed batters, an 063, to right-handed batters, an 062. It's the same. It's almost like he's dominating both lefties and righties equally as a right-handed pitcher. The weighted on base percentages, how about a 192? That's infinitesimal here when we talk about weighted on base percentages. A strikeout rate over the past 30 days, Joe, 31%, and an extremely low walk rate. You do have the advantage with Nick Pivetta. Now, we take a look at Michaelis on the other side. His last 87 batters, absolutely filleted out there, Joe. 458 ISO, 440 weighted on base percentage, low walk rate, which is fine, but doesn't strike out a lot of guys. And this lineup now for the Padres, starting to look better on a day-to-day basis. Tatis, Arise, Machado, Merrill, Bogart, Sheets, Cronenworth, like 1 through 7, if those guys can stay healthy and get back on top of the horse, man, that's a good baseball team. So for me, I'm with you. Yesterday, they were detonating starting pitchers early today. I think Pivetta slows down the bats here for St. Louis. Nice weather temperatures, by the way, Joe. 89 degrees with the wind blowing out to left. But I do with you. I think those San Diego Padre bats do come alive today.
Yeah, and there's no reason to think otherwise. Not exactly, Mikolas has been a bit of a gas can here at times, and Pivetta much better at home. I mean, lights out at home in San Diego. Obviously, not as good a numbers on the road, but I still think this Cardinals lineup is in flux. I don't trust them to be able to get to Pivetta at all in this one.
Yeah, let's set the table for this next one here. It's in Detroit, and boy, does Detroit need a win like you wouldn't believe. But Toronto also looking to keep those New York Yankees at arm's length. They blew them out yesterday. We'll see if that happens today. 9:09, 9:10 on the rotation, a 7:10 start. Toronto's going to have Jose Barrios on the mound today going up against Keider Montero of the Detroit Tigers. This line opened up as a slight favorite towards Toronto overnight, around a -125. But as you see that graphic, we're much closer to a pick 'em today than we were at the opening number. 8.5 at the opening number. We're now seeing most outlets now, Joe, at 9s today. Detroit, how can you trust this team when they've let so many people down over the past 2 weeks?
Well, and Barrios much better on the road than at home this season, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. He's got over a 4 ERA at home and just about a 3.3 ERA away from the Rogers Center. And talking about a Tigers lineup, they've scored 13 runs in the last 7 games since the All-Star break. Yeah, no, I'll take the Tigers team total under is where I'm looking here.
Yeah. It feels like, and by the way, Keider Montero, I don't know if it's the last start or the start before, really got to me, man. Like the guy was like he was trying to win the Cy Young out here. He's not that type of pitcher. His last 56 batters that he's faced over the past month to right-handed batters specifically, a 376 weighted on base percentage. He doesn't strike out left-handed batters. And the thing that you love about this lineup, if Keider Montero doesn't strike out guys, Toronto as a team does not strike out. Everybody looks really good against right-handed pitching. Yep. Something to keep an eye on. Lukes, Springer, Guerrero, Bichette, Barger, Kirk, Loperfido, Clement, Wagner. Come on now. Where's those runs out here for the Toronto Blue Jays? More Major League Baseball on deck as we roll along on a Friday morning.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
They still need Kelsey to beat Kelsey at times. I think they will baby him again. He won't be out there for 70, 80 plays. He's going to be out there for 55 plays, somewhere in that range here to keep him healthy as the season goes on here. So we have to keep that in mind as well. Plus the backup tight end there, he has some big games as well. So I think Kelsey is still very usable, but I think what you want to be careful about is you don't want to draft the name anymore.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Full slate Friday here in Major League Baseball. It's how we cover. It's how we get down right here on the early line, Sirius XM Channel 159, right here on the SportsGrid Network. Donnie Rightside and Joe Raineri. We go to Cincinnati, the Great American Ballpark here. Zach Littell will be on the mound for the Rays, going up against Nick Martinez of the Cincinnati Reds. This line opened up as roughly a pick'em. Still sits right now, as you see on the graphic, as roughly a pick'em. A side here, close. The total, here's what we love to see. It's listed at 9.5. Doing a little quick research here on the weather conditions. How about 89 degrees at first pitch and a wind blowing out to left field? You absolutely love to see that in one of the better hitters ballparks in Major League Baseball. Tampa Bay, Cincinnati. Who's hot, who's not here for you, Joe?
It's like, which one of these Cincinnati lineups show up tonight? Is it the one that can take, Zach Littell and take him deep, which, he tends to give up the long ball a little bit here? Or are we going to get the one in Cincinnati that can't hit water if they fell out of a boat? Nick Martinez has been really good. Better than the numbers tell us here. It's very hard for me to look at this game and not think runs aren't coming. I don't trust either pitcher against these two lineups. If Cincinnati shows up tonight offensively, I think we get double digits at the Great American Ballpark on a humid night for sure.
Yeah, looking for my guy Nick Martinez right now. Where is he coming in on my chart? Because I'm going, there we go, at the bottom. Now, here's the interesting part, right? What do you trust? Because analytics never likes a guy that doesn't strike out a lot of batters. Case in point, Nick Martinez. He does not strike out a lot of batters. Last 30 days, 125 batters, only 14% strikeout rate. That'll usually get you in trouble. But, as we like to say, like terms of, hey, dancing between the raindrops, only a 116 ISO against, a weighted on base percentage of 286. Just trying to slide it down. He is a slightly higher fly ball pitcher. Does not allow barrel contact here, which is getting him, swaying away. But if I look at his numbers, there's 30 pitchers on the card today, Joe, over the past 60 days. Analytically, he's 29th. 29th at a 4.84 xFIP number and a 6.02 ERA. So if I'm just looking at trusting, Tampa Bay, I probably would trust more as the pitcher on the mound and the lineup here. Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda, Junior Caminero, all with high weighted on base percentages and low K rates. So maybe this is a good bounce back spot tonight here for me. For Tampa, good hitting conditions. I think they win this ball game here. And again, try to hide yourself from this. Hey, Nick Martinez doesn't give up a lot of runs. He's due, Joe. He's due to give up runs tonight.
Yep, and both teams are more than capable of hitting the long ball, and that's also important in situations like this. Again, Cincinnati has been known to disappear sometimes offensively, but I do think runs are coming in this one tonight.
There we go. 8:05 p.m. Let's go to Texas here, Atlanta. Looks like they're on their last legs right now. Nathan Eovaldi back on the mound today, and they look to continue their surge now on the right side, as we like to say, of the 500 record. Wentz will be on the mound, and that ain't Carson Wentz. It's a left-hander out there, and they are underdogs. Talking about the Braves today at close to a -150 to -160 price where you're shopping at, a little bit lower than the graphic that you're seeing there with these live numbers. And 8 across the board as a total. I don't know what to make out of Atlanta right now. I know Texas is the better team. You can't really handicap that way, but is there any life left in Atlanta before we get to the trade deadline where they say, don't sell off our parts here, like Marcell Ozuna?
Listen, all I know is that we have got a situation in which the Rangers, for some reason, cannot hit lefties at all. And they are absolute. We just watched JP Sears, right? Do a pretty good job against this Texas team. And Joey Wentz obviously doesn't, this is like his 20th team in the last 3 years. But the reality is, from what we've seen in a couple of starts here, he actually hasn't been that terrible here. So, yeah, I like Eovaldi being back. I don't like a ton of runs here. I'm looking at a first 5 under 4.5 or 4 runs. I think runs are going to be hard to come by like they usually are with I think Texas, the #1 under team, certainly at home they are. And I don't see any reason to go against that right now with these two.
Yeah, taking a look here. Let me just look at the last 30-day statistics. If we take a look at the Texas Rangers, they don't hit left-handed pitching all that well. Seager's really woken up, though. He has. Finally, he's here. Marcus Semien, very good against lefties. You take a look at Michael Hellman. It's only 11 at-bats. He has a decent ISO power number, so have that what you will. Jung, only 7 at-bats with a good number. And then the rest of that lineup, Langford, Heim, Freeman, and Duran, haven't been all that great. But Joey Wentz, here's the interesting part about this pitching matchup. #2 on my pitching card today, analytically, is Nathan Eovaldi. His last 60 days, not a lot of work, 23 2/3 innings pitched, but still a 152 ERA and a 298 xFIP number. You look at Wentz, and again, not a lot of work. He's actually last on the card, 18 2/3 innings pitched with a 7 ERA and a 5.01 xFIP number. So he's due to get hit. He's due to get knocked around. But at the same time, the Rangers lineup, Joe, hasn't hit left-handed pitching all that well. So it sort of counters that balance. Now, on the other side, the Braves lineup looks pretty good against Eovaldi, but he's not your normal right-handed pitcher. He's a really good pitcher. So I'm with you there. Roof's closed. It's never open. There's no heat and humidity. Atlanta looks dead at the plate right now. If Wentz just doesn't get blown up, you got to have that right under at this point.
Exactly. I mean, they have been an absolute ATM full game unders here in Arlington. Not just this year. This dates back to last year as well. They don't score a ton of runs in that building. It's kind of crazy, but I don't think they score them early here either. So the under 4.5 for me is a good look.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense here at this point. Let's get up to Kansas City, a team, again, struggling with, should we stay in the race here because Detroit's really bad at this point, or is it just going to be fool's gold and we probably can't even jump the Guardians anyway? We're looking at this number today. Michael Wacha's on the mound going up against Gavin Williams, both right-handed pitchers, 9-13, 9-14 on the rotation, an 8-10 start tonight. And you see that number, -116. It's roughly a pick 'em on both sides at this point right now. The 8.5 still out there. There are some 8s out here in the betting landscape as well. Gavin Williams in Cleveland, Kansas City, both of these teams looking up at Detroit saying, will you please lose? And the one thing that has to happen is one of these teams in the Central, Cleveland or Kansas City, has to win and one has to lose tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, but the reality is I don't trust either of these offenses at all. And Kansas City, for whatever reason, does not score runs when Wacha pitches, although he does a great job of keeping his team in it by not getting blown out of the water early. But Kansas City just does not give him any run support. I like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like the first 5 under here, always with Wacha, because I know Kansas City can't hit. I know the Guardians ain't going to hit. So to me, I'll take that first 5 under 4.5 in this one.
Yeah, angry at Gavin Williams. I believe his last start, if I want to remember, absolutely burned me. I think he was really good in that start. So you look at him, he struggles with right-handed batters tonight. You see those right-handed batters in the lineup right in the middle of that. You know, Bobby Witt. You saw some life now, like Salvador Perez. His last 73 at-bats against right-handed pitching, having a 448 ISO and a 524 weighted on base percentage, looking like he's Aaron Judge out here and only striking out 7% of the time. So those could be advantages. Wacha on the other side, decent pitcher, as we stated. The lineup, you want to see more runs for the Guardians, but it's like Kwan, Martinez, Ramirez, Manzardo, and good luck with the rest of that lineup as it works its way through. So I'm with you at that point right now. You're saying, okay, which is the best way to go? 81 degrees, light wind blowing out. We'll see how those chips fall. Not a great game, but certainly one of those games we certainly like to handicap and have some fun with. Let me ask you a quick question on this game tonight that's going to take place too. Not even really a handicap. Arizona and Pittsburgh. Nelson and Burroughs. 2 teams dead in the water. Like Pittsburgh probably going to be selling like they always do. Arizona just starting the fire sale. That line's a pick 'em. Total's a 9. 2 dead teams. Like, how do you even approach this game to say, I would like to lay my money? Like, I'm going to bet Arizona, they're the better team. Wait, they didn't even show up. They lost 6-1. You know what I mean? Like, it's a hard game to handicap.
It really is. And Burroughs, outside of one kind of outing that he got lit up a little bit here, he's allowed only 2 runs or less in 4 of his last 5 starts. So judging from the lack of effort, Naylor gone, everyone's kind of looking at each other in that Diamondbacks locker room. I think an under is a good look here with Pittsburgh and these 2.
Yeah, so tough to judge, man. 2 teams waving the white towel, trade deadline coming up. I'm sure Arizona's really excited to go to Pittsburgh at this point. There's going to be a lot of energy in the building where the fans are like, all right, it's Pittsburgh Steelers season now. Nice to know you, Pittsburgh, and your beautiful ballpark, and we never win anything at this point. So games start today, as we said, 4:10 Eastern. The final game tonight is that New York Mets San Francisco Giants game with Clay Holmes and Logan Webb on the mound. That's a 10:15 start. We got more football to talk about on a Football Friday. Mike Blewett joins the early line next.
My mind, I was able to think and process. And if I if I let him get back up, he's going to get back up. I was like, let me finish this right now. And I caught him with that left hook, and then I caught him again with that right hook just to make sure the job was done, because I was calculating his hands wasn't touching the ground and his knees weren't touching the ground, but I know he was still going down. To make sure he wasn't getting back up, I had to let those last two off, man.
Combat Sports Report. Only on SportsGrid.
He's just only 2,300 points behind. So even if he does win at Memphis, he's still going to be behind Scottie Scheffler in the points by 300. So why? I mean, I want Scottie Scheffler to show up in Memphis, but does he need to? If Rory's not showing up and the third place guy, even if he wins, isn't going to pass him?
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
What do you make of the season that Barkley had last year as he piled on the yards to get over 2,000, and what can that look like this year?
His year could have been much better with different circumstances here. So he was great. I assume he'll be great again. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't have an issue with it, but, Barkley, yeah, you're going to lose the tush push.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Get your dancing shoes on, people. It's the early line. No, it's not March Madness. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm dancing because football season is here. Everybody's in training camp. At least we think. That we'll talk about in just a few moments. But it is a de facto football Friday because next week is game week with a Thursday night Hall of Fame preseason game, Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Chargers. Most people are happy today also that Happy Gilmore 2 is coming out today. That's not why I'm happy. I'm happy because it's Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Raineri, and now it's Mike Blewett joining us on a Friday morning. Mike, how's it going?
Good. I'm happy to not be working at the snack bar like Bob Barker suggested Happy should be doing. So excited for Happy Gilmore 2 and excited for a little bit of preseason football coming up soon.
Yep. You know who's not happy about football season starting? It's Trey Hendrickson. He wants more money, Mike. You know who else isn't happy? Shamar Stewart, who says, why am I sitting here like the only rookie unsigned that I can't get into camp? I'm a first-round draft pick. What is the deal with the Cincinnati Bengals? But more importantly, Mike Blewett, your analysis here on will these guys be in camp anytime soon?
First thing I would say, Super Bowl season, Super Bowl era, year number 60. Bengals with 0 titles. They have a way of running the organization that does not really lend itself to winning at the higher levels. What I would say is that for bettors, if one or both of these guys don't ring the bell in week 1, we're betting Bengals overs for the season. So Shamar Stewart, look, I don't know any other way to analyze it but to say that the Bengals are just operating differently than other teams. They want different language in this contract that is outside the bounds of what other teams are willing to do for their players. So that's one. The Hendrickson thing, they've at least been cordial and said positive things about it, but he called their offer atrociously low, so he's not in camp. And for a while there, because TJ Watt hadn't been signed and Parsons is obviously not signed long-term and Hendrickson as well, there was, I think, a little game of chicken between the teams as to who's going to sign their guy first. I'm not surprised it was the Steelers that did it. And I think that sort of set the market for what Hendrickson and Parsons could ultimately get. But I don't really trust the Bengals to do the right thing by Hendrickson, despite the fact that he's, I think, a little bit younger than Watt. It's got to be at least in that range based on recent production, but maybe the Bengals see it a different way. It's what's going to happen with them when they are so top heavy on offense with Burrow, Higgins, and Chase extensions. So Do they have the room to sign a big-time defensive player and then fill in all the pieces? I think it'll be tough for them to remain competitive long-term.
Yeah, I mean, and let's face it, I know Washington has seen a lot of people get behind them here after what they did last year, Mike, and there's no reason not to think that they can't still improve. But without McLaurin, they need him, do they not, if they're going to take that next step?
I think he's one of the more surprising holdouts in recent years to me for a variety of reasons. One, the strategy of holding out now in the NFL can be really damaging to the player. You're losing $50,000 a day. That cannot be eased. People say, well, they'll make it up to him in the contract. It's still lost money. It's not like the team is keeping it. It's just going to NFL charities. So it's difficult for me to understand the strategy. I would prefer, I'm not an agent, obviously, but I think the strategy of holding in can be far more effective. We've seen it with Brandon Ayuk and other players in recent years, and there's obviously a few right now. I think it's one of the more surprising holdouts because of the level of leader that he is. McLaurin is really this team leader, along with Jaden Daniels, who's really only in year 2. So I'm surprised by it. I'm surprised they haven't gotten it done. Maybe Terry McLaurin isn't on the level of Jamar Chase, whom I just mentioned, but he is a really top-level wide receiver and important to their offense. I don't think that they can reach the same level of success, Joe, as you stated, without having Terry McLaurin on the field. They're not going to piece it together with the secondary and tertiary wide receivers that they have.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like if Terry McLaurin was like a year and a half younger than he is now, I don't think they have any problems giving you that extension. The teams get nervous once you hit that 30-year mark, and we already gave you a contract. How effective can you be? But it's not as if Terry McLaurin has any black marks or, let's just say, off the field where it's like, hey, you're a real risk. Like he is a team player. They love him in the locker room. The fan base loves him. The coaching staff loves him. I think they need to come to an agreement. But it is one thing to be said. They're not close on a deal. You're right. Like they offered him a deal. They're not talking. He's not showing up to training camp. That's not great. Perfect transition over to this one. We thought this deal was done back in March, and we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons. He's in camp. He's always played the good soldier. He's not due we owe him a little bit more money. Mike, we think he's going to make more money than any defender has ever made in the history of the NFL. Why is this deal not done yet? And also, now we're getting infighting between Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons daily on the microphone.
Yeah, so the comments from the owner are ridiculous. It's like how baseball, you guys were just talking baseball arbitration, the way that plays out, it's really ugly, right? The teams have to sit there, tell the player and their agent how much that player sucks, and then come to an agreement on a contract anyway. This is sort of playing out like it doesn't have to play out this way. Jerry is just choosing to make it this way. The strategy none of us understand is they ultimately have paid these guys anyway. They waited on Dak Prescott's extension. Then he broke his leg on national television. Then they gave him the contract anyway. CeeDee Lamb, they just waited until right before week 1 and extended him. I don't understand what waiting does here for them. Even if he's going to be the highest paid player, Donnie, he was going to be the highest paid player, perhaps at a lower number. So they're just costing themselves money unless they have some long-term idea that he's not going to be a part of the team. But throwing your players under the bus like Trayvon Diggs and Dak and others makes no sense to me. It is part of the risk of the sport.
It's pretty insane because when I'm looking at like the Cowboys, how they operate, they're obviously the richest franchise in professional sports possibly in the world. But there is a salary cap restraint where if you are a smart businessman, and let's just say the minute you thought Dak was going to be your franchise guy, you signed him to a big contract. You did the same thing with CeeDee Lamb. You did the same thing with Micah Parsons. You can get extra players, a cornerback, a linebacker, a defensive tackle, a defensive end, and have a better football team because you were smart with your salary cap, not just being a smart businessman. It's always crazy to see how Dallas plays it out, but it's going to be Jerry Jones' world, and we're all just living in it, even in AT&T Stadium, which is Jerry's world at this point. More talk coming up next as where are some of these quarterbacks filling in? Mike Blewett's here with us in the morning hours on the early line.
Shamar Stewart is having troubles before he even plays a snap.
And he's seeing what's happened to the stars of this football team, by the way, right? The Higgins stuff wasn't super smooth. The Hendrickson stuff's not smooth.
But why pay him that big number where you've got Trey Henderson, who's an absolute superstar at edge? You always build a defense. Why haven't the Bengals been back to the Super Bowl in the last 4 years? It's real simple.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Y'all know where I'm going. And yeah, you can call it Nick bias all you want. I'm taking the Knicks to come out of the East. I look at this New York team and think that Mike Brown is an upgrade over Tom Thibodeau. You may disagree. I don't care. I look at the fact of getting Yabusele and Clarkson off the bench is going to make the Knicks more dangerous.
Betting above the rim only on SportsGrid.
Your approach with Marion Hampton is if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Eric Skubal, another incredible performance. I mean, almost going 7-8 innings again, striking out a ton. I mean, I kind of felt like the Tigers really wanted that win.
There's a bit of narrative to it that people like to buy into, or, kind of, I don't want to say push a narrative, but the fact that he's doing what he did last year, but better, and is now in a spot to repeat, like, there's something to be said.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Final segment of the day here for the early line on a Friday right here on the SportsGrid Network, Sirius XM channel 159. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Raineri, joined by Mike Blewett here, talking some NFL highlights / who's in the media, who's in the news. The biggest news yesterday was actually Justin Fields. Like, oh, what happened here? Like, that's how starved we are, Mike Blewett, for information. Fields gets injured. It could have been his head fell off, his leg fell off, an Achilles, a knee. We didn't know. Turned out to be a dislocated toe, which he's back at practice today. Crisis averted, Mike Blewett, for the New York Jets.
I mean, for now, crisis averted. As my buddy Joe knows all too well.
Yeah.
The crisis is averted for now that we're not looking at Rod. He's obviously a very capable backup. The reality is you'd have to really start looking at what is this team going to look like when Aaron Glenn is not going to want to, in his first year, put up some sort of disastrous 2-15 season. How important are the wins going to become? If Fields struggles by the bye week, does he have to make a move so that Tyrod can get him an extra win or two so that he can build his winning culture? I appreciate, by the way, that they signed Wilson and Sauce Gardner to long-term deals. That's operating a little bit differently for them, and the first time in a while that they've been able to extend their first-round picks. So that's good news for the Jets. But what is their upside this year? I mean, the beginning of the year, the Giants and the Jets are here in New York are both facing some really tough opponents to start out the season. The Jets are going to want to try and get some wins before they play Miami. But Steelers, Bills at Tampa, that's a tough way to start it out for the Jets.
Yep.
Well, the good thing for the Jets is the Browns are still in the league, so we can focus all our attention on what a dysfunctional mess they are.
Yeah.
Week
who's
10,
your
baby.
quarterback? Yeah, who's your quarterback, by the way, in this locker room?
It's a tough depth chart right there, Joe. That we're flashing there. Yeah. Flacco is obviously the security blanket, and I think the other guys have a real shot. For all the drama that we went through on draft nights on Shedeur Sanders, he ultimately landed in a place where he has an opportunity to win the job. I don't know that Kevin Stefanski is expressly interested in starting a rookie. I don't see it happening. I think he's leaning on Flacco to do it. But if Pickett really showed them something, and he's had some first-team reps here. Maybe he has a chance to start a few games and see how they play. I don't know that the cast around these guys is good enough to really compete within the division, but it is an interesting battle. Oddly, the only guy I don't give a shot to start any serious games is Gabriel. I just think Sanders' upside is greater, and I don't know that he puts it all together in his first season, but I think the other three all have a shot, and I'd be betting on Flacco right now to start week 1, but who knows how long that will last. It's not like he's been durable, even in these spots in recent years.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, because when you're trying to win games, which is always what a coach and a general manager wasn't to do, you're going to get fired if you don't do that. You got to put your best foot forward, and if it doesn't work out, then you make changes. Flacco's not your future in Cleveland, but it could be the future for Kevin Stefanski keeping around yet another year. It's like, oh, this was a complete team in turmoil. But if we do look at those two quarterbacks, any chance in your mind, like honestly, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, they have to be on the roster, because you won't be able to hide either one of these guys on a practice squad. So we're talking about they're carrying 4 active quarterbacks at this point. Is that in Cleveland? What are we doing?
Yeah, that I don't think it's a great strategy. And Donnie, you highlight something that will probably work itself out during camp. So as much as I said Pickett has a real shot here, if Pickett doesn't show them the ability that he could start, he would have to be the one to be cut, unless they think they find Gabriel or Sanders is a zero for the future, and it would be a wasted draft pick. Shedeur, not a high draft pick, so it's not like people would cry over a 5th or 6th round draft pick getting cut, but I think he is somebody you'd want around. Pickett is probably the guy, if he doesn't show anything this year, the guy that provides them with the least amount of upside. So it's a really interesting topic, because I'm talking about maybe Pickett has a shot to win the starting job and also has a chance to be cut. There's no reason for them to carry 4 quarterbacks, especially when they're paying a 5th one.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let's look at the depth chart there. And it could be Flacco, it could be Pickett, and then Gabriel was drafted over Shedeur Sanders, but Shedeur is the better quarterback. We just had to teach him a lesson, make him a little bit more humble when he gets in the locker room. A lot to be decided here, certainly for Cleveland. But how about that for a nice week here on the early line, wrapping it up on a Friday, talking some football, setting the schedule up for the weekend. Mike Blewett, thanks for joining us here. Joe Raineri and Donnie Rightside and the team behind the scenes, thank you so much for taking care of us. We'll be back on Monday. See you then.
Shamar Stewart is having troubles before he even plays a snap. And he's seeing what's happened to the stars of this football team, by the way, right? The Higgins stuff wasn't super smooth. The Hendrickson stuff's not smooth.
But why pay him that big number where you've got Trey Henderson, who's an absolute superstar at edge? You always build a defense. Why haven't the Bengals been back to the Super Bowl in the last 4 years? It's real simple.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Y'all know where I'm going. And yeah, you can call it Nick bias all you want. I'm taking the Knicks to come out of the East. I look at this New York team and think that Mike Brown is an upgrade over Tom Thibodeau. You may disagree. I don't care. I look at the fact of getting Yabusele and Clarkson off the bench is going to make the Knicks more dangerous.
Betting above the rim only on SportsGrid.
Your approach with Marion Hampton is, if you're going to draft him aggressively and early, you better be patient, because it might take half a season before he really takes over this backfield, and it might never happen this year, depending on how Harris performs. Gadsden and Disley so far not fantasy relevant at this time. Again, a more run-heavy offense. Hampton and Najee Harris, very intriguing, but the ADP, I think, on both of them is slightly off.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Eric Skubal, another incredible performance. I mean, almost going 7-8 innings again, striking out a ton. I mean, I kind of felt like the Tigers really wanted that win.
There's a bit of narrative to it that people like to buy into, or, kind of, I don't want to say push a narrative, but the fact that he's doing what he did last year, but better, and is now in a spot to repeat, like, there's something to be said.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.